What if you could take that risk, make that change, reach that goal, live your best life? Welcome to another episode of the What If You Could podcast, where we get together with amazing experts and everyday people who share challenges, encourage healing, and explore the possibilities that life has to offer. I'm your host, Gary Scott, and I'm excited that you're along for the ride. Hey guys, welcome back to What If You Could? And this is episode 2 with our empowerment coach, Liz Cooper. And in this episode, we talk about how Liz went from homeless to helping people heal. And how she did it was offering hope to others, brought hope to herself. Before we join Liz, I just want to thank everyone again for listening into the episodes, liking, sharing, subscribing, and give us any feedback on how we're doing, because we really appreciate you listening in. So, welcome back to the episode with Liz Cooper on What If You Could. I would imagine that there's a lot of people out there that just won't bump into you again or don't have your number, whatever, that you touched
Right,
in in a way during that period that you'll never even know how many people
right,
you gave a little advice to or just gave some time, because like you said, when you're driving home and you're going to your neighborhood, you drive the same stinking route every day, go to the same Starbucks, go to the same blah 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 blah. And when you see a homeless encampment or you see a homeless person or you see someone struggling, we don't
right,
stop our car and go, "Hey man, how you doing?" I mean, all the time. There's a lot of times I will.
right.
Well, I'll walk up to someone and I'll just say, "Are you all right? What's going on?"
Oh,
And
I
get their
don't doubt that.
story.
That's your personality. Of course, that's your heart.
I
You're
just
a
love
good
to do that.
person.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So I'm sure that you touched a lot more people than you think you did, and maybe that
there's a good
through that
chance.
spirit, kept you going through those tough
Oh
times.
yeah. Oh, I'm filled with the blessing of what I went through. If people can start seeing that when they're going through hard times and start seeing the blessing what they're going through, they'll be able to get through it a lot quicker and they'll come out to be a better person because of it. We just need to, I don't know if you've ever heard of Greg Braden. Have you ever? He's a scientist and genealogist, I believe.
Maybe now
It,
that doesn't ring a bell.
oh, okay. I recommend him
So
totally.
what's his name again?
And Greg with two G's at
Yep.
the end, Braden.
Okay.
And he said something I thought was very profound. He goes, people are always wondering why we're here. He goes, we're here to heal, and we're helping each other heal if we understand that. So when you're giving that person that's been homeless for a long time and you can just see that they're at their worst, give them a hug. You have no idea what your hug did for that person. When you're saying hi to someone, especially if they're walking with their head down and you're acknowledging them, you may have just saved their life. They may have been contemplating suicide because no one noticed them. So that's something I always try to keep in mind too, because you never ever know.
Mhm.
And like with me now, I'm working with a client that is 26 years old. He's autistic, nonverbal. I'm always getting into these things. Well, anyway, it has connected me to so many people, so many parents that have children in the autism spectrum.
Yeah.
So everything connects. We just have to understand that. And
Yeah.
there's a reason for it.
We have an autistic grandson. He's 8. He's nonverbal
Oh,
autistic. Yeah. So it's a tough area.
oh yeah.
Unfortunately, it seems like we're finding more and more children and people being diagnosed with autism.
Oh yeah.
All sorts of
Oh
reasons.
yeah.
We can go down that rabbit hole. So you find yourself homeless a little bit. You did have your shelter, you had your car, and then
Right.
did you come? Did you start the shama process during that, or when you got out, you found
Oh,
a place and got started? That's when you started the practicing.
oh no, when I was in the circle, little by little by little.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, because they were the ones who was pushing me. You got to do the work. If you want to be a shaman, you got to be doing the work all the time. So it's the way I live, the way I pray, the way I eat, the way I just interact with people, and just try to become a better human each and every day. Sometimes I fail that, and I recognize that. And that's another thing too, is that really look at yourself after your day and say, how did I help? How did I do today to the greater good? And if you find yourself, hey, I didn't do that great, you got to forgive yourself. You got to do that first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
you got
you
yeah,
definitely, had a period there where you could have just thrown it all in with the woe is me and
yeah,
just
no,
tossed in the old towel there, but instead you chose to reach out to others, which, I've
right.
told people 1,000 times, if I've said it once, is when you're in a really bad rut or you think things are, shit's really hit the fan, you'll be able to find someone who's in a worse spot. And if you reach out and
Oh
help
yeah.
them, and you'll feel better. And there's a poem I used to
Oh
tell
yeah.
my boys all the time from the time that they were very little.
Yeah.
And I said, I once had the blues because I had no shoes until I met a man on the street who had no feet.
No, that's
And
perfect.
I used to tell them that if they'd nag about something, and I'd use it at the most random, stupid
I
time.
like that.
We could be in Walmart and they want a toy. I'm like, let me tell you why you're not going to get that toy. But it's true. I mean, you do. It's kind of like how I started doing these podcasts. Is I
Right,
went through you know,
right,
some tough times and some different situations, and so
right.
I just felt if I could share and then let other people know it feels good to share and
Oh yeah.
get it off your chest. And there's no stigma to it anymore. There's no everyone has to keep a stiff upper lip and they can't let out, especially on social media. We're also freaking fake on
Right.
social media. But to get real and say, hey, I'm hurting, or I went through this, or I did through that, or
Absolutely. Yeah.
it's a big deal.
It's
So
yeah, it's really, really important. And I did tell someone the other day, I had to make it real for them. And I'm a Virgo. We tend to do that. I'm gonna
well,
make it
a,
real for you.
a Virgo empath,
Oh,
yeah,
oh
I'm
my
so
God. Oh
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's no.
you should just get dark blinds over your windows and just don't leave the house for like a week.
A friend of mine, we call each other sisters because she's also a shaman. Oh, she's a terrific gal, but she's also a Virgo. Our birthdays are only like 5 days of difference.
Virgo
And we do
empaths, wow,
oh yeah, but we
wicked
got
bad.
each other's, we got each other's back, but she's the same way. It's like, it's your shit, deal with it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
So
And that's what
when
that's
you're
what
doing your work,
yeah,
so when you're doing your shama practicing and energy work, healing mind, body, and soul. So
yeah.
so someone just reaches out to you and they're like, do they know that the pain they're in? Do they know the source, or do you the one who kind of discovers
Well,
what's going
yeah,
on?
well, see, if it's a physical problem, there's the emotional problem is connected with it.
Mhm.
It's always our emotions that is out of whack. Because 95% of our time we're in the past. Okay. So we're living the past in our present, and that's about being a human being. Okay. So the other 5% is our consciousness of what our new thoughts. So once you can learn understand that this is what's causing it, um, then there's a way of healing. Sometimes it can be the energy work of me doing a body energy work where I can help them move that energy out. But most of the time, there's always going to be like a life coaching part attached to it. And I do that because I really want them to understand how they are empowered. They just don't know it. And the thing is, the one thing I do know, because I've heard this so many times, that even if, let's say, a person has cancer in a certain region of their body and then gets healed, but if they are so worried about getting that cancer again, a lot of times it will come back. Have you ever heard of Dr. Chopra?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay, I think it was in his first book, and I read this, and that's why I knew that we were more powerful than what we were always to believe. When he went from the Western medicine back to the way it needs to be, and that is the way that he does it with herbs and also with therapy, anyway, so he had this Indian woman that came to him that had cancer. I think it was breast cancer. I'm not too sure. Anyway, so of course she's going to be frightened. That's a part of being a human again. So he said, well, this is what I need you to do, but this is also what you need to do. So she had to also do meditation, eat right, blah, blah, blah. But he did not, I don't know if he did any chemo on her. That I don't recall. But anyway, so she did, she was healed. And then he said that she was so worried about getting it back that she got it back and she passed. So our mind plays games on us. We just have to acknowledge that. Forgive ourselves when we feel like we're failing ourselves. We're not. We're just being a human being, that we have to recognize it, that we are human, and there's a reason for us to go through these challenges. And it's all about healing. And one thing that what you could be doing, people also don't understand, is that a lot of this energy that we hold within, let's say there is something sick in your body, that can actually be from our ancestry, an energy that was passed on. If it wasn't healed, then it may manifest in you because you're connected to that energy. Now, how we heal those energies is simply acknowledging that you have this energy that you're holding and you need to forgive it. Once you realize and you start forgiving yourself, you're actually cleansing that ancestry of all that energy that was coming forth that wasn't healed. You're actually helping that bloodline.
Interesting. Yeah. So it can go way back through, not just your current situation. So then, and then how do
Yeah.
you, as a healer and a
Yes.
practitioner, um, how do you find that and then work people through it to do the healing work?
How do I find them?
Yeah, I mean,
They
not the
all,
people, but I mean, when
oh,
someone comes to you and how do you go back like that? How do you find what the source of the pain is, and then how do you begin the healing process with them?
well, they will not know always, especially like if they were adopted. They don't know their ancestry, right?
Yep.
So I just mainly focus on them. So I ask them what they're going through. Usually what they're holding, the energy is something that's already been passed down. That's the same thing. So it's just like never ending book. Every page is the same thing. They're not changing the title. And so they're not changing the story, I should say. And by changing the story and understand and just forgiving yourself and doing it through prayer, doing it through meditation, along with any practitioner, if it's a Reiki healer. And I do some Reiki, but any healer, they're only the facilitators. Let me put it that way. I have to be careful, like you were talking about earlier about me using my energy. It's be best if I ask for that higher help, for the ancestors to come through, for their spirit guides to come through, and anyone that can help me through this healing, so I will not become depleted.
Mhm.
I can still become depleted, but like you said, I have to I have to take that time to make sure I am drinking plenty of water, just like my the person I'm helping.
Mhm.
So yeah, so it really does depend. How I'm going to help them is what the problem is.
Yeah.
If it's like through my therapy, through art, that really helps people like with stress or PTSD. That gives them a sense of control because we feel out of control. That's why we get into these situations too, because we totally feel out of control. We have allowed so and so say this to us and we believe it,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
type of
So
thing.
on the shamanic side, is
Yeah.
there is there a lot of visualization, manifesting? Is there prayer? To use
Oh,
a, not everyone's
oh,
religious, so maybe prayer. There's a lot of different ways to pray, but I mean,
right.
so is that
Exactly.
part of the work that you do is
Yes.
on the healing?
Yes, absolutely. If I did not have that, then no, I don't see it that way then. I I have to have the intention for the greater good for that person. And then by asking for whoever for their ancestry or my spirit guide to come through to help me with this healing, um, we're not in it by ourselves. If we understand that people that have passed, soon as our parents pass, they are our ancestors. They are part of that. And okay, so we can call upon them because now they have crossed over. They know more than us. They know what they can do for us. And if they're not the one to help, then there's going to be someone else, I'm sure, that's going to come through. I have had those visions when I'm doing a healing. Someone will come through and telling me to work in this one area for that person. That energy works. So I did that, you
Is it
know.
so? It's almost like, from what I'm hearing, it's almost in a lot of psychic sense for
Yeah.
you as far
Yeah,
as
I
reaching
guess.
these
Yeah.
people. Especially, I mean, if
Yeah.
you have to go back and you're reaching with people through their past and things like that.
Mhm.
Now,
Yeah.
with the art's kind of an interesting thing. I'd never heard of therapy through art. So are people
Yeah.
sitting with you doing artwork, and
I've
that's
had
healing
yes,
to them, or how is
well,
the
I'm
healing with
just
artwork?
doing it. I'm still doing that. Okay, I'm an artist first and foremost. So art has always helped me in some way, and I do many different types of art. Um, and I found neurographic art, and it was a psychologist from Russia actually came up with it, and it's about creating new thoughts. And through this type of art, that is how they can do that. No one ever has to worry about not being an artist if they feel like they're not an artist. I tell everyone's an artist. It just all depends what it is. Artwork is in many different forms.
Yep.
So I try to relax them in that way. And I do put on soothing music. It could be a shamanic type of music or just some relaxing by the brook or something like that, and not talking very much. I just explain to them what they're going to be doing at the beginning before I turn on the music and maybe even dim the lights. But making sure it's not too dark, right? Uh, and then what they do in it is that when they're making their lines, they're thinking about that problem that they're having. So let's say that they've just been really stressed out for the past week. So they're connecting to stress a lot. So they're going to do that through through the lines. And then the healing part happens. You go into this meditative state, and what I show them is how they're going to make new neurons, new thoughts by doing the art of color, rounding off edges, sharp edges, and how they do that. And you don't have to look. Don't think you have to look for the answers. They will come to you, because what you're doing by going to a meditative state, which that's what you automatically do, it will come to you. I'm sure it does happen to everyone. When you have that one question and you're going, where is that where's the answer? And then once you leave it alone, all of a sudden the answer comes to you. It's the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you leave it alone.
Thanks again for joining us on another episode of What If You Could podcast. Please subscribe, like, share, and give us any feedback. We'd love to hear it. And remember, if you can dream it, you can do it. See you next time.